Welcome to the Pulse with Peter B. I'm your host, Peter Biancamano. Let's get you to the pulse on everything you need to know. And we are here at the gorgeous Calabro School, located at 524 Park Avenue in the beautiful city of Hoboken, New Jersey. And this is our monthly feature on all the wonderful programs that the Hoboken School District is doing. And we have a wonderful guest joining us today, and that is Sandra Rodriguez Gomez, who is the Assistant Superintendent of Schools here at the Hoboken Public Schools. Welcome to the Pulse.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And we're excited to have you on, absolutely. So this month, we're going to be talking about the gifted and talented programs here. So I was wondering if you can give the audience a little bit of an overview of the program.
Sure, absolutely. So in 2020, Governor Phil Murphy signed into law the gifted and talented program, which ensured that all school districts across the state had a present and viable opportunity and pathway for students that were excelling to have rigorous and really intentional programming within our schools, right? Mm-hmm. And so part of what we were really, really excited about was the opportunity to construct a program that was equitable, that included all children, that we provided students with opportunities at all levels to engage with the gifted and talented program.
Wow, that is amazing. Now, more specifically, what type of programs are offered to students? If I was in a classroom, which I wish I was, because being an adult is hard.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, wow, everybody's agreeing with me here today. What can I expect in terms of programs that are being offered?
So what you could expect is that we would have a dedicated and isolated period during the school day, within the 6-hour day, where all we're doing is ensuring that you are engaged in classes that meet your need as a learner, right? So we understand that there are a large majority of our students where our general programming is enough and it's efficient. Then we also know that we have students on the very, very high end, and then conversely on the very low challenged space. And so we wanted to ensure that our students that were excelling in the regular scheduled programming, if you will, had also an opportunity to grow acumen in spaces and in content that they perhaps might normally not see during the 6-hour day.
Wow. Now, there are, the state, I'm sure, sets standards on if students can participate in these programs or not, correct? So is there any type of testing that needs to be done?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And if so, I guess once the program was enacted back in 2020, I believe you said, how many students have now been involved into the program? Or accepted into the program?
Yeah, so I mean, we've gone from before 2020, we had a program that wasn't a formalized program, and we had 24 students that were able to qualify. Now we have combined over 360.
Wow!
And so we're really, really excited about that. I think that it is a testament to our general education program, our 6-hour day program, that we have students that would qualify for something as exciting as a gifted and talented program.
My goodness, that's like a 500% increase.
Yes,
as you can see, math is not I should have stayed in the classroom. But that's amazing, because literally in 2020 it was COVID. So we're doing that hybrid. I know that the Hoboken Public Schools kind of kept their doors open. For
the only school district.
The only school district led by Dr. Johnson and her amazing team.
Yes.
But that is unbelievable to see those types of numbers. I'm sure you're very proud of that.
Super proud of it. It allows us to ensure that we're not just impacting that gifted and talented moment, but also informing the 6-hour day so all children can profit.
Well, Sandra Rodriguez Gomez, you thought that I was going to mess up your name, but I didn't. Thanks so much. We're actually going to have one of your colleagues, the district supervisor here, discussing the programs a little more in detail.
Definitely.
So, you want to stay tuned for that, right?
I will, definitely.
Exactly. So promise me that you're going to come back on the Pulse too.
I will. If you have me, I'll be here.
All right. Thanks again. Really appreciate it. And congratulations on where the program has come in just 3 short years.
Yeah, we're excited.
Thanks again. All right, folks. More from Calabro School right after this. All right. Still here at the beautiful Calabro School located at 524 Park Avenue in Hoboken. And as promised, we do have the district supervisor for literacy and gifted and talented programs here at the Hoboken Public Schools. And that is our good friend, Christy, who I just met 5 minutes ago, but now she's a good friend of mine. Christy Gaudio. Did I say
Yes,
that
you
correctly?
got
All right. I just wanted to be sure. Mom
it.
is watching at home. You know what I mean?
Perfect. She'd be proud.
Exactly. Well, Christy, Sandra was talking a lot
Yes.
about the Gifted and Talented program
Yeah.
as an overview. I was just wondering, there are programs that fall under the umbrella of Gifted and Talented, and I was wondering if you could explain to the audience what those are.
Yes, so I'll start with one of our, we like to call them pathways. I know Mrs. Rodriguez Gomez talked about our individualized learning pathways period. During that period, we offer on Thursdays and Fridays project-based learning modules where all of our students engage in different projects. I like to highlight our third grade, which is Steam Tank. We have quite a few qualifiers and winners through the Steam Tank Challenge throughout the state of New Jersey. And then on top of those project-based modules, we also have what's called our Johns Hopkins Center for Talented Youth Pathway. So we have a partnership with Johns Hopkins and their Center for Talented Youth. And we really feel like you can't beat their research in their curriculum for gifted and talented students and accelerated programs. So we offer two pathways. We offer a verbal pathway, which we provide one course during the fall, and a math pathway in the spring. Sometimes our students qualify for both.
Wow.
The instructors of these courses are actually from Johns Hopkins. It's an online learning platform, and we have gifted and talented facilitators within the school day that help support students as they're learning and engaging in this online learning pathway.
So, is this program available district-wide
It is.
from elementary to the high school?
So right now, currently elementary to middle school,
Elementary to school,
right?
understood.
But we have students who would then, after CTY, engaged up until the 8th grade. We now have more courses and CTY offerings at the AP level at the high school,
Right,
which is
'cause
very
that
exciting
was
as an
going to be my
extension
next
of that.
point. This leads into
Yes.
advanced placement classes
Yes,
into the
yes.
high school, which makes a lot of sense. And it really just shows you where Sandra mentioned in the first part of the segment
Yeah.
that it went from 24 to over 300 students.
Yes.
That is more students who are going to be participating in advanced placement classes
Yes.
in the high school as well.
Exactly.
And of course, advanced placement gets them ready for college. Am I
Right.
right or wrong?
Exactly
So, yeah.
right. Exactly
So,
right.
if you're a parent, I mean, and you're looking at this program here at the Hoboken Public District Schools, how could you say to your student, I want my student to participate because I want my son or daughter to be ready for, college as quicker than anybody else and so on and so forth. So what do you want to tell parents out there to get their child ready for this?
Right. I think of it in terms of just when you have a child and you know your children so well as parents, and you feel that they need that extended or accelerated pathway within the school day that will eventually lead towards that high school path. I mean, you can't beat our program offerings, especially with Johns Hopkins. One thing that I'm so proud of in our district partnership with Johns Hopkins is it aligns an accelerated option for our students with choice. So we have quite a few course choice offerings that we can provide our families and students. So when you tie like this academic challenge with high interest level courses like Scratch programming, cryptology, math and codes, we do core novel studies with our students through CTY. It makes for a really exciting experience both for our families and students.
Exactly. And correct me if I'm wrong, the Hoboken Public School District, compared to other schools in the community, is basically the only one to kind of offer this to their students because of the program that Governor Murphy announced in 2020 or whenever it was.
Right.
So therefore, there's an advantage here in a way, correct?
Yes, I mean, even Johns Hopkins through our partnership mentions how proud they are of our district and implementation of their courses here. They've never had a district with such a high number of students enrolled in their CTY courses like we do.
Well, Christy, thank you so much for your time today.
Yes.
Christy Gaudio.
Gaudio.
Gaudio, sorry, I messed that up. I know. I knew I was going to mess it up.
You
The
got it.
District Supervisor for Literacy and Gifted and Talented Programs here
Yeah.
at the Hoboken Public School District. We really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure. My honor and my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you again. All right, folks, we will be right back.
Peter Biancamano, your hostess with the mostest of the Pulse with Peter B. Folks, don't forget to go on our Facebook and our Instagram pages by searching the Pulse with Peter B and like and follow us on each of those platforms. We're constantly updating those pages with previews of each week's segments and cool stories. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our email address at thepulsewithpeterb@gmail.com.
Welcome back. I'm your host with the most, Josh Sotomayor Einstein, and I'm so glad that everyone out there in TV land and on the interweb decided to stick with us despite whatever Peter Biancamano was saying in the previous segment. I'm also equally as glad to be joined by Councilman Joe Quintero. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.
And I know out there everybody is wondering why he has a Band-Aid, and I swear to God, we did not get in a fight. If we would have, I probably would be wearing some bandages, and it'd be bad news.
Well, thank you for acknowledging that, since you are my favorite Republican. The truth is nice to hear coming out of you. It would have been a one-sided, but I had a bit of a run-in with the door earlier this week. The door won, but the good news is that when it happened, I ended up with an idea for how time travel works, and it's the flux capacitor. It's coming soon to stores near you.
Oh, well, I am a big fan of science fiction and also of tradition. And the traditional often say when God opens a door in your face, he closes a window or something like that.
Something like that.
So in stuff that actually makes sense, you've been a councilman for a little bit of time now. Tell us, looking back so far, what has been your number one accomplishment? And then going forward, what's something you hope to accomplish?
Sure. I think I got to say it's the enhanced engagement with our public safety infrastructure and the community. Early on in my tenure working with Director Ferranti, we came up with the idea for the community and public service meetings, the CAPS meetings, and they're very well attended, and they've actually led to some practical real-world solutions, the latest being enhanced presence of police in Church Square Park. So I look forward to continuing that engagement and really moving on into some of the other areas that I wanted to focus on, which is increased representation for folks like in the Housing Authority. Mm-hmm. I think historically they have felt left out in some of our collaborations within the community. I think we've seen a lot of positive steps over the past few years with the family hood and some of the work that the board there has done, but it can only get better. And so I'm looking forward to stepping that up in the next couple of years and hopefully further from there on.
Well, I know I went to at least one of the community meetings that you were talking about earlier, and it was at the bar, I can't remember, right on the south part of Church Square Park. And
O'Neill's.
Yeah, it was at O'Neill's. Wonderful breakfast food. I ate like 5 croissants because I'm a pig. And but everybody in the community was just talking about people doing drugs in the park. And it was so good to see and so nice to see afterwards that that the message had been received, that there were more police in the park dissuading people from doing drugs in the park late at night, or at least when kids are around. So it was definitely good to see.
Yeah, I think one of the things that really resonates about those meetings is we have a tendency to feel like when we engage, especially with police and fire, that it's going to be a one-sided conversation. It really is a conversation. And sometimes there's disagreements, but we always, the way that they work is we do presentations, Q&A, and then we mix. And that after part where we're mixing, that's really where the connections happen. And giving folks the ability to have that debate, the real-world debate, and we end up with practical solutions is really empowering, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really good stuff. Are there going to be more of those coming up in the future about other topics, or?
We hope. We're going to have a reorganization meeting early on in the council, and all plans are for it to continue. In what form, we don't know yet, but it would be a shame if it doesn't continue.
Well, talking about reorganization meetings, I mean, I guess the million-dollar question is who's going to be the president?
Joe Biden is currently the president. I think he will be the president.
I don't think he's going to be the president of the Hoboken City Council.
I don't know,
unless there's another funky election,
We've got a near split, and I think that's a decision we have to think about. Typically, that decision isn't made for another couple of weeks, but we will see where we go from there.
All right, well, stay tuned out there in TV land. I know I'll stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Hudson River Care and Counseling. Hello, I'm Dr. Pam Pater Ennis, the CEO and founder of Hudson River Care and Counseling with over 30 years of clinical social work experience in therapy. We are a progressive counseling and coaching practice with a diverse team that brings a holistic approach to clients. We offer support both in person and through digital platforms such as telehealth. Consider us a safe haven that you can trust with care for your mental health needs. Visit our website to set up a consultation today.
Welcome back. I'm your host with the most, Josh Sotomayor Einstein. I'm so glad you out there in TV land stayed with us. Surprise, surprise, so did our wonderful guest, Councilman Joe Quintero. He stayed with us as well. Before we went to commercial break, we were talking about the different issues in town. And something that I think some people have heard about is something that everybody remembers at least a little bit if they were here, or keeps in the back of their brain because it was pretty traumatic, was that the hurricane and the rebuild by design efforts that Hoboken's been involved in, and not just Hoboken, but Jersey City as well, since Hoboken was underwater. And I know former Mayor Zimmer has made the news lately. She's been accusing Mayor Fulop of Jersey City of slow rolling the permits and the variances and whatnot. I may be using the wrong terminology, that are required for some of the flood mitigation efforts from Rebuild by Design on the southern part of Hoboken, or in the southern part of Hoboken, rather. Maybe you could talk about that, or fill in the holes where I'm getting things confused.
I think the first thing to make clear is that there's a difference between Rebuild by Design and our flood mitigation efforts that we've executed on over the past few years here in Hoboken. Those being our resiliency parks, our flood pumps, some of our gates that now come down. And those have been largely successful. We had a really big rain event about a month ago, maybe more, and areas flooded because, frankly, they're going to, and it's unavoidable in some instances. But the water was gone within 24 hours, and those who've lived here a long time, the water would be here for weeks on end in situations like that. And it's been such a success that the New York Times really did a nice story kind of illuminating that. Rebuild by Design, though, is what to battle the effects of Sandy, which was storm surge causing the Hudson River to come into the city. And for that, we're going to build it. We won't try not to use the word seawalls, but they're walls that are going to resist the water. And for it to work, has to be contiguous. And there are a couple places within Jersey City where there's some easements, is the word that you were looking for, where we need easements in order to complete that construction. Now, there have been some harsh accusations, I think largely unfounded as far as I know, that there's some purposeful holding up. One of the things that I've learned over the past couple of years is that we have a top-notch staff of directors. And Director Stratton and Director Gonzalez are really on top of their game, and they're really the ones who are making sure that this project stays on track. We just broke ground on the north end of Hoboken in the park that's going to begin that. I have full confidence that whatever easements need to be granted will be granted in time. It behooves everyone in this part of the state to make sure that this is constructed as quickly as possible so that we can protect from the effects of climate change and future storms. So I have full confidence it's going to be done. I was happy to vote in the affirmative with a resolution urging for this to continue. It's unfortunate that the former mayor, who's done a lot of work, and I know she's passionate about this subject, has made those statements, but I trust our public officials to keep things moving along in the appropriate way.
Now moving on to our current mayor, in less than 60 seconds that we have, Mayor Bala recently announced that he is running for House of Representatives, the lower house, both are very esteemed, but the lower house in the U.S. Congress. What are your thoughts about that?
I have positive thoughts about this. I've known the mayor for about 3 years now. He's thoughtful, he's intelligent, he's diligent. He's, to me at least, an inspirational leader. I wish him well in his run. And if he wins, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be refreshing to have an honest to goodness primary fight in Hudson County. And I'm excited to see how that turns out. And if he wins, I think he's going to be an excellent representative, and I'll be proud to have a local Hoboken person sitting in that seat.
Well, Councilman Quintero, thank you so much.
Thank you, Josh.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Peter Biancamano back with you. Don't forget to watch us on cable access every Sunday and Monday at 9 a.m. Optimum Channel 18, Files Channel 46, and Comcast Channel 190. Also on Sunday mornings at 9:30 a.m., you can watch our show on our YouTube channel, and you can also binge watch all of our old shows. Who doesn't want to keep watching The Pulse with Peter B? We'll see you there.
Hello, welcome back to The Pulse on everything you need to know. I am not Peter B., I am Pastor Mark. I'm the spiritual counselor for My Sanctuary Healing, which is a program of Hudson River Care and Counseling with offices in Hoboken as well as Teaneck. It is my pleasure today to interview Chris and Tom. I met these two gentlemen, on the support group for My Sanctuary Healing, and I know a bit about their story that they will share with you shortly. First of all, gentlemen, on behalf of male clergy, because you were hurt by male clergy, I apologize. Shouldn't have happened to you. What happened to you is not your fault. And I hope you remember that. Now, people out there watching, they don't know your story. So please take a couple minutes and tell the folks, how were you hurt by the church and by clergy?
Wow, it's a good question. And I think we both have like different stories that kind of combine into one.
Well, take a minute each.
Yeah.
Give us your story.
So I think for me, it started with I was raised in a very conservative upbringing in terms of religion-wise, and always taught that homosexuality is a sin, taught that homosexuality is similar to really grotesque comparisons, like bestiality and stuff. And so my desire was to not be gay, even though I was constantly, I didn't know what to do with the feelings I was having. So I went to something called Exodus International, which was a reorientation therapy program. It did not work, but through that experience, there was a lot of trauma and just a lot of things discussed about, not that being gay is your parents' fault, being gay is a product of your environment. And so I ended up having a lot of internal conflict about my parents, and realizing that in the long run, my parents actually did love me and they do care about me. And I was being fed lies by this religious organization that really was trying to divide the family and not bring the family together. And so it's something that kind of led me to go through this journey of like, who am I and what does that mean with my relationship with God? So that's kind of the beginning. And then I guess we could share how we came together.
Tom, tell us yours.
Yeah, so I have a similar to Chris. I had a similar upbringing with the whole homosexuality issue. And I think I kind of, where it met was we met in a church that was not affirming, and I was kind of figuring out my identity, and I met Chris and we started dating, and that wasn't okay with the church we were going to. And for me, it was kind of a journey of being stripped of what I had known and what I thought the church was about. I was stripped of my leadership position and then my membership, and it was just this whole process to the point where I was the lowest in my life. And we ultimately, Chris got kicked out like full blown, and I couldn't be there anymore, so we both left. And it kind of just was a huge blow to the identity I didn't really know about myself already, and it kind of just took me lower than that, if that makes sense. And so I think that's kind of where we were at, and then we kind of learned about My Sanctuary Healing, and that's the next question, I know. So
Next question is, how did you become a part of My Sanctuary Healing? And I hope it's been a catalyst for your healing. Please tell me about that. How did you get there, and how does that help you?
Well, when everything went down, I got kicked out of the church, and there was a lot of drama and humiliation, and a lot of like secondary losses. So we lost our community. We were in a support group at that church. We lost that support group. So both of us went through a very dark, traumatic, probably good year. And my mom and dad, who love me and care about me, despite all the lies that were fed based on, you're gay because of your parents. They did some research, and my mom said, there's this woman, Dr. Pam, and you need to reach out to her because I don't want to see you like this anymore. So I called Dr. Pam, and she's like, come on in, I have, we can talk. And so she introduced me to My Sanctuary Healing and Tom. And I think the biggest thing for me, the healing I needed was I lost my community. So My Sanctuary Healing gave me community back. I also didn't know what to do with my faith. And so meeting people who were struggling with their faith because of the trauma they went through helped me to ask really tough questions about, okay, who is God? What does that mean for me? And I started to view God in a way that was more meaningful and more personal than ever before. And I think there was a question you asked me, and it was like, because I was so angry, and you said, yes, these people hurt you, but you also need to think about what have you done in the past that may have hurt them? And it got me thinking about, just what did I say out of anger? And so I think this process has been very reflective for me and has brought a lot of healing.
I am flattered you remembered a question I asked.
Yeah.
Most people don't. So, how about you, Tom? Tell me about you and My Sanctuary Healing.
Well, I guess similarly, I think I was stripped of a lot of things, and community was one of those things. And just also, I think it's easy to feel like I'm the only person experiencing what I experienced. And so My Sanctuary Healing, I realized that I wasn't alone, and that's a very important feeling to have. And just to be able to heal with others and find that community that I really longed for was an important thing for me to start and to continue my healing journey. And Dr. Pam knows that I hate talking, and so about anything.
So why are
I
you
think
talking in front of the cameras?
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. This is a pretty big thing. So yeah, I think I just found certain things that I was lacking and that I had lost, and it's helped me to grow. So,
hey, few seconds here. Tell me, what are you gentlemen doing now? You look pretty healed, if not completely. What are you doing now for a living, in your social lives? What are you doing?
I'm a licensed social worker with trauma survivors in Newark. So
wonderful.
I am a nursing professor and researcher, and so my research right now for my doctorate is how does spiritual health affect nursing outcomes?
Wow, I wanna read your study on that. Please send it to me.
Absolutely.
Okay. Few seconds left. Tell the audience if there's gay folks out there feeling put down, feeling depressed, what good advice can you give them so they can start thriving again?
Well, I know it sounds cliche, but you're not alone. There are people that are going through what you're going through, and there's healing out there.
And I would also just say that you are loved and valued, despite what any religious leader may say.
Thank you, Chris and Tom. This is Pastor Mark, spiritual resource for My Sanctuary Healing. Please make sure next week, tune in and listen to the Pulse on everything you need to know.